I really worked hard for this promotion, and it was just ripped away from me. Another guy who didn't do as half of the amount of work that I did, he got a promotion and I didn't. And then suddenly you find yourself depressed. I worked so hard for this, and why did it that I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve? So these are the things which are happening, and what it does now, it helps you to understand what are some of the trigger points. Then the next thing is about the purpose of creation. Now the purpose of creation and this is where it comes back to what is the definition of our faith. You see, when somebody becomes a Muslim or decides to adopt Islam, what they're trying to adopt is that they're surrendering themselves voluntarily to Allah. Voluntarily to Allah, they're surrendering themselves. And it's an attitude that they are willing to develop and have that will bring them closer to Allah so that they can live in peace. Because this is what the meaning of Islam is. There is a component of surrendering voluntarily, and there's a component of being in peace, being in harmony, being in a state of sakina, being in a state of tranquility. That is what it's about. That is what Islam is. And this is what the Quran says, I have not said that they may worship me. Now, the worship is about doing something which will be better not for Allah but for yourself. Because Allah does not need your worship. But worship is an attitude in a way to be able to draw you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are important because what it means that if you're addressing a problem as we are addressing, then you'll be thinking about when people ask themselves, why am I here? What am I about? If they firmly believe within themselves that it is about trying to attain peace. Because you remember somebody who has a mental disorder, what is foremost in their mind? How is their life? Is their life peaceful? Would you describe it as peaceful? They are in a room full with people. Do you think that they feel as though that they're part of a social gathering and enjoying themselves? How are they? Tell me, how are they? Anybody? How do you think they would feel? They are in a room filled with people, but yet they are isolated. Okay, they see everything happening around them, but they are alone. Okay, people are talking to them, but they feel that no one talking to them, but talking about them. They look at the room and they look at others who are there, and they say that they're talking about me. I think they're talking about me. I think they're looking at my clothes. I think they're wondering why I'm here. I think they're wondering why somebody invited me. So these are things which are happening. And the thing about it, it's about if you begin to understand why it is that you're here, what you're meant to be doing, what is your reminding yourself of your purpose in life. What purpose in life does to you is that it is something which is meant to be empowering. And remember this word, it is meant to be empowering. When it is empowering, it is something which gives you meaning and purpose. That is why these ayat of the Quran are there. The next one is that one of the things that people often say is that, and what are the trigger points for a lot of these mental disorders is that if something happens, so you develop, let's say, a post-traumatic stress disorder, then you can relate it now to an event which has happened. Somebody has died in the family, you can't cope, and you don't have the coping mechanisms, and then you sort of regress into a particular state. Now the reason why these are happening is that what people don't begin to realize is that God does not hate you. And that is the first thing. And that is what it says in Surah Duha. Allah does not hate you. And this was addressed to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was thinking to himself, am I alone in this thing? Is not Allah with, why it is that, Allah is not with me? Why it is that others are behaving the way they are behaving? So he was getting himself, the revelation, that surah of the Quran, Surah Duha, was revealed at a time when revelation had ceased. He was regularly receiving revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then suddenly he found that it was no longer coming. And then those around him, they started to ridicule him. Oh, where is this Allah? And even his own uncle, where is this God that you've been talking about? What is he saying today? So they started to ridicule him. And then what would he respond? No, he can't say, well, look, make up a revelation. No revelation was coming. When it does come, it tells him that God does not hate him. And he has not forsaken him. He is always there. And it is a test. It is a test that he is going through. And yesterday we spoke about tests. And we said that sometimes Allah puts you through a trial or through a test such that He can draw you closer to Him. He wants you to come to Him. You may be close, but He wants to make you even closer to Him. And that is important. So if you look, you see, a test from Allah, or if He deprives you of something, it is not a form of punishment. And very often as Muslims, we equate tests with punishment. You know, I don't do well, I haven't done well, or somebody doesn't well, you say, well, you didn't pray. If you had prayed, maybe Allah would have, given you success. You can't equate things like that. Prayer is not linked to it like that. Okay, so remember that, inshallah. So life is a test. And the other thing about tests is not about tests, it's also about hardship. So there are going to be moments of hardship. And Allah wants to be able to empower you, to be able to give you even more through this process, inshallah. The next thing is that very often people say, well, there are no cures. There's no solution. I have a problem which is affecting me that I have been running right, left, and center, and there's no one to be able to help me. Okay, where is the solution? Allah says that He has all solutions. That if Allah should touch you with an adversity, there is none who remover of it except Him. And if He touches you with good, that He is over all things competent. And so that the source of the cure comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It comes from Him. He is the one who you need to turn to when something happens to you, whether it be physical, or it could be spiritual, or it could be mental. You turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will find a cure. Now this is the thing about the cure. The cure is not often the thing that you think is the cure. See, you have in mind what you want as the cure. Yeah? You have cancer, for instance. What's the cure you want? You want to rid yourself of the cancer. Yeah? You've just gotten the assessment of your physician who tells you that, there is no cure. He tells you that, that you're going to die, man. You have maybe 6 months. After that, that's it. There's very little that I can do. But you want a cure. And you're thinking about why it is that Allah is ready to take me away. And my family is young. I have a full life to live. Why is it that He is? I mean, I don't know if you know the statistics about cancer. But the statistics about cancer in the UK shows that 1 in 5, currently it's about 1 in 5, by 2050 we develop cancer. No, it's 1 in 5 to 1 in 4 will develop cancer by the year 2050 in their lifespan. So if you have a group of about 4 people, one of us will develop cancer. That's the way the figures are going. And it will be no different from places like Trinidad and so on. It is increasing worldwide. The percentage of people who are developing cancer in their life, will. But think about it. It's a test, but at the end of the day that we know that it might be 1 in 5, but it's 100% guarantee that every one of us would die as well. So we need to put things in context. Yeah. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the solutions, and therefore He is the one that we need to be able to turn to. So as much as we turn to others, we need to be letting people know that adversity, it is a test. Remember, it is a test. It is a test from Allah. It is not a curse. Allah does not hate you. And it may seem, and for us who are listening to this now, this seems that, oh, I know these things. I know it's a test. I know it's a test. But believe me, in that moment of peril and of crisis in your life, all right? At that moment in your life, these words are very far away. They do not have this, you're not thinking about those things. If you ingrain them in your life from now, and you keep on reminding yourself about them, then in that moment when you need them, they will come to surface. They will come when you need them, inshallah. The next one is that Quranic examples, how to deal with adversity. Now, one of the things that the Quran does is the Quran gives us human models. And these human models represent people who suffer with real problems. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose the best of creation, of His. The best of His creation. And none is better in His creation than His own prophets that He has sent. People who are meant to represent Him. People who has endowed with divine guidance. And He sent His prophets, and what did He do with His prophets? He didn't give them it all their way. But He made them work, He made them sacrifice, He gave them pain, He took things away from them, He deprived them of things. And there were human responses which took place. Because they were prophets and they were recipients of divine guidance, but they were also human beings. And as human beings, but endowed with this